Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Radio Works World. My name is Gill Barham, the Miracle Molecule host, and today I am having the best light-hearted conversation with a gentleman who is in a swimming pool. His name is Nigel Risner. Hello, Nigel.
Good afternoon, and good evening, and good morning to whoever is listening from wherever you're listening.
It's so exciting. I've never interviewed anybody in a pool before. Tell us where you are, Nigel.
So I'm in Lindos, which is in Rhodes in Greece, and the reason I'm in a pool is because I totally forgot, because I'm such a monkey that I thought it would be simple to do, and then I realised I need to be in the sun and be cool at the same time.
So you must be as hot as Hades, because Rhodes at this time of year is really warm, isn't it?
It's about 36 degrees, which is 72, which is about 102 degrees. But right now, I'm in a cool pool, listening, waiting, with a bated breath for the questions you're going to ask.
Brilliant. Okay. All right. So before we get started, just in case there are one or two people on the planet that don't know who you are, would you tell us, Nigel, exactly what you do, what you're passionate about, who you specialise in helping? What's your business all about, please?
So my name is Nigel Risner. I specialise in working with chief executives, allowing them and their businesses to grow, develop, and more importantly, to work with their people. I spend a lot of time working with teachers, the National Health Service, and in my time I've worked in prisons with young offenders, and probably most importantly, working with organisations that really think their people are important. My passion is people and communication, and I devised a system of using animals as a metaphor, and now I'm lucky to travel the world helping people communicate better.
Okay, so we can't let that go there. Now, I know about your system that you developed, and I also know that you're a monkey. And I think I'm a bit of a monkey, but I don't think I'm as much of a monkey as you are.
There are very few monkeys as much as I am. My communication model all started when I was doing a presentation in a zoo, and I saw this zookeeper walking with a trestle table with loads of buckets of food. And I thought, I wonder how he knows which food to feed the right animals. So I had a long chat with him, and I realised that if you feed the animals the right food, you get amazing results. And in communication, if you talk to the people in the right way, you get amazing results. So I classify everyone in one of four different ways. You're either a lion, which is normally our chief executives, a monkey, which is normally sales and marketing people, dolphins, which are normally HR and support services, and then the elephants are normally the accountants, solicitors, and the technical people. And then there are extreme monkeys like me who just don't do detail at all. And even though, Jill, you gave me all the details, you told me exactly what to do, I totally forgot. But at least I'm in the pool and I'm doing the job I'm supposed to be doing.
At least you're here. That's amazing that you've actually managed to turn up. I'm very impressed.
And what's even more impressive, that my big phrase is, if you're in the room, be in the room.
And
a colleague of mine who just noticed where I am has just emailed me saying, if you're in the pool, be in the pool. And that's exactly where I am.
Oh, that's brilliant. I was rather hoping somebody was going to do that, because that was one of the things that I took away from the first time that I heard you speak. I think it was the thing I wrote down. If you want to be in the room, be in the room. Okay, so just to tell everybody.
Right now, I might be in the pool, but I'm with you. The sun might be on my eyes, but I'm in the pool with you, dedicated to helping you and your listeners to getting better communication and better sales skills.
Perfect. Well, we can't ask for more than that, can we? Okay, so we know now a little bit about more what you do, and I'm going to give you an opportunity at the end to tell us about some of the things that are going to be happening for you when you get out of the pool over the next few months, if you ever get out of the pool.
I may never leave.
You may never leave. But this call really is, this light-hearted conversation is all about getting to know the Nigel behind the brand, behind the work that you do, behind the system that you've created, on the basis that people will only work with you when they know, love and trust you.
And I think that's a key word, when they know and trust you, because trust is the key word in everything that I do.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to tell everybody that Nigel has absolutely no idea what I'm going to ask him. Have you, Nigel?
I have no idea, and I'm not even prepared, as you can see.
But actually, if everybody was monkeys that I interviewed, it would be fine, because I do get some people saying, well, I'd love to come on your show, but what are the questions? And I have to say to them, well, you're just going to have to find out. And some people actually really don't like that. So what would they be? What would they be? The ones
They're
that
elephants.
need to know the question.
They're elephants who need the detail, and lions who need to be in control. That's why when Graham Norton does his show and the Americans come over, they're always so shocked because he doesn't tell them where he's going. And the system means that all the out of control elephants and lions have got no idea what's happening.
I love it. Okay, so Nigel, I don't know if you know a show called Desert Island Discs, which is on BBC Radio 4. Do you know that?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's one of my favourite shows in the world. It's the longest running show, as you know, on BBC Radio 4. And what I love about that is that you have people that you've on the show that you may have formed an opinion about. And they come on the show, and through that kind of method of talking about music, basically, they are asked questions that bring out the real personality and the real person and their story behind them or their brand or whatever it is that they do. So I wanted to create a similar show that was going to facilitate that kind of conversation. So I've got some questions for you, and everybody gets asked the same questions, by the way. So we're going to get going with scenario number 1. Are you ready?
I'm ready. See, if I was an elephant, I would have listened to some of your shows and known the questions you were going to ask. But as a monkey, there's not a chance.
No, that's right. Well, I actually discourage people from listening because I want you to shoot from the hip. I want you to be really honest and very spontaneous. So we're going to have a great time. Okay, so this is question number 1. Nigel, you're in a hotel. You might even be in your hotel in Rhodes. And you've gone into the lift or the elevator on the first floor, and you're going up to lunch at the very lovely mezzanine up the top. You know, it's going to be beautiful and you're really hungry. You get into the first floor. One other person gets into the lift with you. And as you get up between floors 6 and 7, the lift breaks down. You get a phone call to say that you're going to be in there for 2 or 3 hours, but it's all okay because you've got windows, so you're not going to get claustrophobic. And the other great news is that you get to choose who you are going to be stuck in that lift with. So anybody from history, who's dead or alive, who would you love to spend 2 or 3 hours with to grill, to ask all the questions that you've ever wanted to ask?
Oh, this is going to shock everyone because I'm going to say Jimmy Connors, the tennis player. He was my hero growing up. And so I would love to spend 2 hours with Jimmy Connors in a lift. See, other people would probably say politicians or religious leaders, but I think it would be just fun to spend 2 hours with someone like Jimmy Connors and know the truth about the tennis circuit.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Because we've just come off the back of Wimbledon, haven't we?
Well, we have, but I also spent 2 years playing tennis, coaching tennis in Israel, which not a lot of people know. So the idea of meeting my hero, sharing tennis ideas, and the reason I got into coaching was because I loved coaching when I was coaching kids. And so now, 25 years later, it's just such a simple metaphor that when you can help people focus, and then when you see how Federer focused on Sunday, it's such an easy concept. But Jimmy Connors has always been my hero.
Yeah. Interestingly, we were just talking about Desert Island Discs, and Sunday's guest on Desert Island Disc was the bad boy of tennis. You know, you cannot be serious.
John McEnroe.
John McEnroe, yeah. He was actually featured on the show on Sunday, which was really interesting, actually. Okay, so we've got Jimmy Connors in the lift. And I'm going to magic you up because obviously you're both hungry because he was on his later lunch too. I'm going to magic you up a lovely table with lovely fine crockery and china and the lovely tablecloth. And I'm also going to magic you up your favorite food that you would like to share with Jimmy Connors. What would that be?
Okay, so because I don't drink alcohol, it's definitely going to be a Diet Coke. And then we would have mussels in a white wine sauce, a veal Milanese with pasta in a cream sauce, and then vanilla ice cream with chocolate sauce.
Perfect. Actually, unusually, you've actually got my juices running in my mouth. I can actually visualize that food. And it was so succinct. Thank you very much. Some people, procrastinate, but you know exactly what you want. So for a monkey, I think that's pretty impressive.
There aren't many things I'm anal about, but food is one. And we're going to a very nice restaurant in a couple of hours. And that's probably what I'm going to exactly have. And it's the only time I'm not a monkey is when I'm at a restaurant. because I kind of know what I like and I know what I want.
Perfect. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, so I'm going to take you back now to the 18-year-old Nigel. So I'd like you, if you would, to share with us what the 18-year-old Nigel was doing. Where were you living? What were you doing? What was happening for you?
So the 18-year-old Nigel had gone to Israel to study hotel management because I thought that would be good for me. After about 2 days, realised I wasn't into serving people, and my roommate was a tennis coach. And I thought I'd be great at coaching tennis, but because I'd gone to Israel and I couldn't use the right grip, I wasn't allowed to work for the Israel Tennis Centre, so I joined a local club. And for 2 years, I then coached tennis, played tennis, looked after the Israel junior tennis team that then came to Wimbledon, and just had the most fantastic time. And then met my wife, who at the time was working for the Israel University, the Tel Aviv University, and that's where I met my wife, and we're now married 32 years later.
Fabulous. Well, congratulations. That's amazing. Is your wife, where's your wife from?
Years, we only get 20 years for murder. 32 years, I think I've done really well.
I think she's done really well, actually. Living with a monkey.
Has, unbelievably. And she's a massive elephant. So you can imagine someone who's logistical and straightforward being married to a monkey is not easy.
Okay, and can you remember what music you were listening to at that time?
Yes, John Lennon and W.O.R.K.S.
Oh, okay. John Lennon and W.O.R.K.S. Okay, so brilliant. So that was 18. Now, what was happening for you by the time we got to 35?
Time I got to 35, and that's a really interesting time. So I had just left a finance company that I had set up and formed, and I'd left my own business after having equity venture capital in my business, and I resigned with 1 month's money, started all over again from home, and had nothing, but decided to start my finance company all over again. And then within minutes of that, started speaking about leadership and how to survive in a turbulent society. So I had my 20th anniversary of speaking with the Academy for Chief Executives coming up in November.
And where were you living then, Nigel?
I had bought a house on the basis that we were going public. So I bought a very nice house, and then we didn't go public, and then it was a financial struggle. So I mini-camped in a Bentley, because that's all I had. And we were living in Arkley, and we still live in Arkley right now.
Where's Arkley?
Arkley in Hertfordshire.
Oh, in Hertfordshire. Okay. And did you have children by then?
Yes, we have, who are now 30 and 27. So They would have been 10 and 7.
Yeah, camping out with mum and dad.
Yes. Now they've left, thank God.
Hooray! Okay, brilliant. So my next set of questions are quick fire questions. So I just require kind of short answers for these ones. So are you a TV or a radio person?
TV.
Do you like fiction or non-fiction?
Oh, fiction.
Are you the oldest, middle or youngest child?
Youngest of 2.
Youngest of 2. And at school, were you the goody two-shoes, the class clown? Were you under the radar, or were you a bit of a handful?
Bit of a handful, class clown, who was told I was talking too much and I'd never amount to anything.
Okay, well that kind of makes sense with the monkey brain, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly right.
And what would you say your best habit is?
Best habit, determination.
And your worst habit?
Focus. So I'm getting bored already, but I'm in the sun, so it's okay.
And apart from being on holiday and being in a pool, what else do you do to relax?
No, that's all I do to relax. And I now have a dog, so I walk my dog as much as I can. I find that unbelievably relaxing. But I holiday very well, or I don't, or I work hard. Okay,
so it's yin and yang. And do you have any nicknames, Nigel?
Oh, only when I was much younger, which was Teddy, and now just Monkey, Mr. Chief Monkey Officer. If the word monkey's involved, I've probably got it somewhere.
Yeah, you're there. And you might not know this, in fact, you probably don't know this, but my first passion and my original passion is music, and particularly singing. So when we're out partying, and if I get you up on stage, what's your karaoke song going to be?
Oh, it's either going to be an Elvis Presley or it's going to be... I'm trying to think of the other one with Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. Islands
in the Stream. Well, that will suit me because I'll sing that with you because I'm a massive Dolly Parton fan. So we have to choose that one. That's great.
Okay, well that would work well. I have a number of videos, CDs and cassettes of me singing that with male and female partners.
Okay, let's not share those.
Yes, and I won't be going, and I won't be winning any Grammy awards for it either.
Okay, so I have scenario number 2 for you. So a bit like you, I have been with my husband for centuries. We've been together for 35 years this year. And a couple of years ago, we went all the way around America. We took a month off and we went to a wedding in Yellowstone Park and built a holiday around it. We did 3,300 miles and 8 states and spent 24 hours a day with each other apart from one day. So I'd like to know who you would like that kind of holiday with, where I've taken care of all of the flights, all of the stress is all taken care of. You know exactly where you're going. Who would you take on holiday that you could spend a whole month with without having a crossword?
Well, I've got to say my wife, because she's listening to this conversation. Probably wasn't going to be her, but since she's watching this interview, I've got to say that. We would probably go to America, get an RV, and travel through Memphis, Georgia, Alabama, do the southern states, because we go to Florida a lot. Yeah. But I think if we took her, but we wouldn't sleep in the recreational vehicle. We'd just park that in very nice hotels. But we'd like to drive through America.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We had a fantastic time. We had a big Ford, but we did say that when we go back, perhaps next year, that we will have an RV for some of that time. So that's brilliant. And I'm very pleased. What's your wife called?
Francine, but we call her Fran.
Fran, hello.
I've even used the word Francine, but Fran, who's listening intensively to make sure that I don't say anything wrong. And I'm still going to get into trouble whatever I said, because she'll say that's just not true.
Okay, Fran, well, hello. It's nice to see you. Okay, so let's get back to our music. Now, we're making a book out of this, the transcriptions of all of these conversations for anybody that wants to be part of the book. It's called Your Heart Matters, Light-Hearted Conversations with People of Significance. And you're definitely a person of significance. And this book is going all the way around the world from October to December, doing the Jules Verne route, you know, the San Francisco, New York, doing around the world in 80 days. And because of my passion for music as well, what I'm also doing is creating a playlist, a song list or music list. And I'm asking each one of my guests to choose one song that makes you light-hearted to be included in my list. What would that be?
Oh, for a number of reasons. It's probably going to be You Lift Me Up. Sorry, You Raise Me Up.
You Raise Me Up.
And I've forgotten who sang it. Josh Groban.
Yeah.
And there's, for a number of reasons, my son sang it when he was doing X Factor. It just raises me up. It's inspirational, but it's also light-hearted at the same time because the choir comes in and I get all goosebumps.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. I'm quite happy to have that in my playlist. And one of my final questions is that nowadays my passion and my purpose is all about preventative health, and particularly around helping people to counteract the global megatrend of heart disease in the Western world. So 1 in 2.4 of us will die of heart disease, and it's called the silent killer, because nobody knows whether or not we're vulnerable or not. And I've written a book called Your Heart Matters, and The Heart of a Woman. I forgot my own book title. How to look after the heart.
That's a bit of a monkey going on there.
Yeah, a bit of a monkey. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other book. So the Heart of a Woman, How to Look After the Heart You Give to the World. So my sort of final question to you is, what do you do, Nigel, to look after the heart, the physical heart? So on a physical basis, what do you do to look after your health? But also, what do you do to look after the heart that you have to give to the world? In other words, your spiritual or your emotional heart.
It's going to be a slightly long answer, but I'll do it as briefly as I can. So I had
It's fine. We've got plenty of time.
So I had a brain aneurysm at Christmas, and partly because I was just working too hard. And last year I did 140 speeches in 30 countries. And so now health is really key, breaks is really key, and looking after my soul is really paramount, which until December would never have been on my list. So looking after myself, looking after my family, and taking care of myself is now a major consideration. So doing interviews like this, where I love doing it, but it works for me as well. So doing it in a pool is brilliant. You know, if I'd had to have gone into a road city centre in the middle of the evening, wouldn't have worked for me, and wouldn't have done it because that doesn't serve my purpose. But doing it outdoors in a pool, facing the sun, works for me. So looking after myself really is important. Learning to communicate so we have balance is really important.
Brilliant, a lovely answer. And, you know, I see so many people that, unfortunately, in my opinion, stress is the most major cause of heart disease in the world. Stress is the biggest factor, because stress causes inflammation in the body, and inflammation is basically what heart disease is. And the majority of us that are entrepreneurs, and this is why I work with entrepreneurs largely, is that we're very driven, we're very high achievers, but we tend to do like you do, is to think, well, yeah, we've got to do this and we've got to do all of these talks. And because we're asked, it's very difficult to say no. And so, you know,
I'm getting really good at saying no, by the way, Jill.
That's very good. No. I'm very pleased with you. And so I'm absolutely, and I think if we can share the message that taking the stress out of life, and there are all sorts of stresses, and that's one of my particular expertise, is to understand the way that stress and the kinds of stresses that we put ourselves under, because it's not only about, oh, I'm working too hard, it's not only about that. But if we can actually use this as an opportunity to give the message out to all those other entrepreneurs out there, that actually there's, you know, you are the person that matters the most, because you're the person, you're the rudder of your ship, and, you know, you're no good to your clients or to your family or to your wife if you're in a hospital bed.
My big key message is say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Yeah. So you have to learn to say no, so which has come about. You've got the energy and the time to do it. Yeah.
And you've got to be quite brave to do that, though, haven't you? Especially as a starter. I know that you're very experienced and your business has been going for a long time, but, you know, that's really good advice for people, particularly that are perhaps startup and starting on their journey into entrepreneurship. Would you agree?
When you have high self-esteem and you respect yourself and you have self-worth, then you can afford to say no. The problem is, because we're always chasing the next client, the next deal, we think if we say no, we miss the opportunity, it's never going to come. Over the last 6 months, the more I've said no, the more business I've got.
Well, that's an interesting conundrum, isn't it?
So I'm just saying no more often, and then the phone rings more often.
Fabulous. A fabulous message. Okay, so on that vein then, before we go, and before you get too wrinkled in your pond, I'd like you to share with us, please, what you're excited about and what's coming up for you in the next month, maybe up to Christmas. What's happening in Nigel Risner's world?
What's really exciting, and this will probably be the first time I announce it, I'm now starting to write my next book, which is all going to be lessons about leadership by being an effective zookeeper. So even though I've written a book, It's a Zoo Around Here, and I've written a book called The Impact Code, this is really going to be lessons from a zookeeper in how to really lead your team to prosperity, to better teamwork, to better communication. And we're going to have 365 quotes and sayings on the left-hand side. And then each page is going to be an affirmation to what you can do to make you more successful, your team more successful, and probably more importantly, you and your family more successful.
And are you going to include some health type focus in that book as well?
But I am now, because you've reminded me.
Yeah.
Health comes first. And so I have a phrase that says we spend all of our health creating our wealth, and then we spend all of our wealth looking after our health.
Yes, absolutely. I think Steve Jobs says, you know, the most expensive bed is the hospital bed.
Exactly right. So I think every chapter will have You know, are you taking a break? Are you rehydrating, looking after yourself? And more
Mm.
importantly, are you looking after you and your family's needs before you start taking care of the company's needs?
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. Okay, and what else is you've got various talks booked, and what else are you doing apart from the book?
Well, I'm now booked virtually all the way through to the end of the year. I'm off to Egypt, to Marbella, back to the States. So I'm doing stuff I love, such as conferences, but I'm very happy not working at the same time. So as long as I'm taking breaks and I'm speaking, then I'm very happy. But the
Yeah.
chief executive work with the Academy for Chief Execs, Vistage, Foot Down, keep me busy. But I'm just loving life right now because I've been given a second lease of life.
Yes, absolutely. And we know all too often that people that aren't as lucky as you, that have had a cardiovascular accident, which is what you've had, and only 7 out of 10 people survive their first heart attack or aneurysm or clot. So you're 1 out of the 7. So we need to make sure that we keep you we keep you safe so that you can fulfill all the
That's very
promises
kind
that
of
you've
you.
made.
I had a great medical team. I was really lucky. The National Health Service were wonderful to me. And my clients were all aware of what was going on. And they've been fabulous too. When you tell
Yeah.
your clients the truth, they'll
Mm.
support you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why, I wanted to do this show, was to be able to really allow people just like you to connect with people, because some people aren't quite as open as you. And I think it's really valuable if you are open and honest with your clients, because I think
Well, we have a
you're a good
phrase that says,
example.
tell the total truth faster.
Mm.
Tell the total truth faster, and then your life works.
Yeah, brilliant. And where can we connect with you? I've got your website, which I've just put up here, nigelrisner.com. You have a Facebook page as well, I assume.
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And I write some really cool articles that can be shared with your team. There's always some inspirational quotes on Twitter. And occasionally there's something funny that I've seen as a monkey that makes me laugh, that I'm sure will make you laugh too.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Nigel, I've had the best time with my light-hearted conversation with you. I hope you've enjoyed it too.
I've loved every minute of it, and thank you for allowing me to do it from the pool.
That's all right. And I even kept your attention for a whole 25 minutes.
You did more than I'm used to. My wife is amazed. She's listening, thinking, if she asks, get my attention too.
Okay, well, have a fabulous holiday in Rhodes. Goodbye
Thank
to all
you.
the family, and have a fabulous meal tonight. I should be thinking of you eating your veal Milanese.
Exactly right. Thank you so much indeed. And thank you for allowing me to be part of your show. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure and an honour.
Thank you so much.